The other day, I made a video talking about the top 10 best SR units in Etheria restart, guys. And at the end of the video, I said there are 3 units that could potentially become the GOATED SR units because they will be extremely important for the endgame content. And guess what? That's exactly how it is. Now, I basically want to quickly talk a bit about these 3 SR units that I think every single one of you should start building. The main reason, at the moment, we have 2x drops, guys. So it's much easier for you guys to go and farm whatever you need. Regardless if we're talking about XP, if we're talking about prowess materials, leaving the modules on the side and stuff, these 3 SR units will become extremely important moving forward from here, because they are the most important SR units for endgame, more or less. So let's quickly start talking about the 3 SR units. I'm still in the process of building one of them as well. Once I'm done with farming some modules today, I will be actually diving into building the other one as well. Kachi the Guard, I've already built Kachi. It helped me to beat Sharon on Inferno, which is, of course, the Shell boss. Really good. So, as I was saying in the previous video that I've made talking about SR units, this skill right here is one of the craziest skills in the game because it's the only one that will allow you to get immunity for 2 turns, okay? Which is massive because there are plenty of different bosses that will try to constantly control you, stun you, put defense down, put increase attack, drop your turn meter, etc. So Kachi will actually step in and probably is like the GOAT right now in terms of SR units for endgame. It is a new game. Every single day we are learning new things and stuff, but Kachi the Guard, I could not recommend you more to build the unit, because if you don't have Shadow Sanya, if you don't have Claws to basically make your life much easier in all of the content in terms of endgame farms, and even if you have them, you will still need Kachi for different stages, just to basically make your life easier. So 1000% worth investing in this unit. Now, I've maxed only the 3rd skill on mine. Basically, you need to have a lot of effect accuracy. Let me just see if my build is still loaded, or I've moved the gear around because I've made a mess. So I only took Kachi the Guard to 5 stars. More than enough, okay? Yes, it will be a bit harder to accomplish your goal, but it shouldn't necessarily be a problem, okay? I've done it, as you guys can probably see it with Kachi at 5 star. I'm quickly going to check to see if, by any chance, I saved the build that I had on. I think I just moved the gear from Kraken, to be honest. Most likely that's what I've done. So basically something like this. Okay, let me just put it here. I had something like this, maybe a little bit faster, just to make sure that I was going before the boss to put that increased defense so the boss doesn't completely hammer me down. The whole idea is you need to have as much effect accuracy as possible. Now, at the moment, I still don't have enough because I haven't maxed every single one of the pieces. I still have a freaking outstanding piece right here. But you need approximately around 180% effect accuracy minimum to ensure that this critical success will trigger an extended duration of immunity and increased defense. So you're going to have increased defense for 3 turns, and you're going to have immunity for 2 turns. Now, if we're talking about shells, the best shell is going to be the Codex, because you're going to have this skill available back to back. Even if you're not using it back to back and you're waiting 1 more turn before you're using it, is going to be available for you. In most of the fights, you're not going to be in there for 5-10 minutes, right? So it becomes a bit more irrelevant on how often you're using that skill. The beginning is the most important part. Now, of course, you can use the Artisan as a shell as well. At the moment, I have this one because of the time width and swift rush, but I was running the Codex, okay? So I was running this. I just had to basically change some of the time with gear to make sure I was still on 12 pieces. But the build was roughly more or less the same. Now, the rest of the kit is not bad. Speed down, a bit of turn meter manipulation, crit rate down with a basic skill. In terms of skills, I maxed this one because you want to have this critical success chance as high as possible. That will basically ensure that most of the times you will extend the duration of the buffs. And the rest, I've just basically got some extra stats, but nothing on the first skill. I'm not planning to invest more in Kachi at the moment unless I really, really need it, okay? And most likely I will need it, thinking that I will have to farm Sharon on Inferno. I will have to farm all of these different bosses where Kachi is really, really good. So that's one unit that I would 1000% recommend you to build it now during the 2x event, or once you're done farming, you can build it tomorrow, but just kind of like try to prepare, farm the prowess materials, farm the XP, so you're ready to rumble, because these will open the gates to the end game, especially if you don't have Shadow Sanya and other crazy units as I've mentioned. Then we do have, of course, 2 more units that I've mentioned, and those are the dot damage dealers. Okay, I'm quickly gonna see, because I know I've built Fangus. I haven't gave him gear yet. I've just leveled him up, so he's ready to go to 6-star whenever that's needed. Yes, they do work absolutely amazing with Shadow Sanya. If you don't have Shadow Sanya, you will need to find a way to defeat bosses, and dot is so much better than raw damage dealers versus some of these bosses, right? So you're gonna get the dot, you're gonna get a decreased speed right here, which is really, really good, because you're not just getting the dot. The passive, pretty helpful as well, and right here, another chance to inflict dot. And that's how you're taking some of the bosses down. Now, to be honest, you can more or less play around either with Fangus, either with Obol, and decide which one of them will suit your account better. But you can go wrong even if you're building both of them to like 5 stars for the moment, and then later on decide which one will work better in which team, okay? Because I do think that on Nikonana, for example, Fangus is amazing because he brings the decreased speed, so you don't have to worry about it. But then Obol works pretty great in there as well because he has the stun, and you can control the side ads, which is pretty good too. So he will bring the dot damage and the stun. Probably you've seen this character everywhere in the arena event that we had, like the gambling one, right? His team more or less was always winning because this is a pretty damn powerful skill. Most of the people are looking at him as a dot damage dealer. They forget about the part where he actually stuns, right? So he is really, really solid as well. Dispel. Obol summons water pillars and imposes a curse on all enemies, dealing damage with a chance to convert a random buff into a stack of dot for 1 turn. Really, really good as well, especially if the bosses are gaining some buffs. Once again, a chance to inflict dot. So you're gonna have dot, dot, dot. With Fangus, you have dot from the basic skill and the 3rd skill. So it is a bit of a difference. But either way, all of these 3 SR units, guys, are freaking goats right now in the endgame. So let me just quickly show you some teams. It's going to be a bit harder to find the teams if we're going at each one of the dungeons because it's full of Shadow Sanyas and they're all kind of like covered by them. They're eclipsed. This one right here on Nikonana, yes, you can do it without Lily. You can use different units. Lily makes it faster. You can use Fangus in here if you want to. Then you don't need Marvel. You can bring in another healer or something else. But this is a pretty straightforward team, right? 1 minute, 22 seconds. This is something that I have to build myself as well. I haven't really been farming shells for the last few days. I haven't really focused on those dungeons at all because my mind was on 2x. I saved all of my stamina for like 3 days before the event started, right? But once I'm done with the 2x, all I'll be doing is literally farming shells because it will be the biggest upgrade. So this is a pretty solid team. Now, if we're going to go over to challenges and Grim Pursuit, for example, and let's head over to Nikonana. I'm very curious to see if we can find other teams that do not use Shadow Sanya in here. Of course, the clear time is always with Shadow Sanya. Recent clear, you can 1000% do it without Shadow Sanya. And that's where Kachi comes in play because the ads can stun you in here, if I remember it correctly. Fangus or Obol, one or the other, maybe even them two together could potentially turn out to be something really powerful. And will enable us to speed farm. As I've mentioned, the game is still new. Every single day we are discovering new things. One of the biggest issue that most likely every single one of us has: limited resources, not being able to test stuff as much as you would like to. If you're leveling up gear, bank, your Etheria coins are just gone, even if you're just looking to see if that piece is worth keeping. You don't have the lattice. You don't have the shadow prints. You don't have the XP to level them all up. It's fine. It is a new game, 2 weeks in. We cannot expect to max every single unit, but because of it, we kind of like hit humps in the road, and we're slowly discovering new things, right? And I'm pretty convinced that Fungus and Obol together will make some nice teams without Shadow Sanya as well. It's crazy that everybody, like literally everybody, is just Shadow Sanya, Shadow Sanya, Shadow Sanya, Shadow Sanya everywhere. Okay, so unfortunately, we cannot scroll lower than that, but there are tons of different teams. I will be doing guides so you guys can actually see it, okay? Then, if we're gonna move on to Sharon, you're not able to use dot damage dealers in here. So basically, you need to run some similar teams like this. This is actually what I used as well. If I remember it correctly, let me just click on it because I kind of forgot. I know I use Kachi, I think I use Lily, Deering, okay, and Valerian. Super OP. Now, it is pretty challenging to farm it with this team. I managed to defeat it. I think it took me like 5, 6, 7 tries. There's a lot of RNG because the side ads from here, they actually remove some of your buffs. If they remove the attack from Deering, you're in trouble because he's not doing enough damage. If they remove your immunity, again, you're in trouble because then they're going to be able to basically land dot on you. Or if the immunity expires, right? Kachi, a freaking GOAT in this team, guys. Like, a must-have. I cannot think of a different unit to replace Kachi because even if you're bringing in Linglu, you have that immunity for 1 turn, not for 2 turns. And it's going to be really, really hard to stay alive because the boss drops so much dot damage on your team. Like, sometimes I had like 8, 9 stacks of dot on my characters. They were literally taking the turn, poof, dead, you know? But here you cannot use dot damage. So if we're going to back out of here, let's see if we can head over to the next one. So we have Shadow Flame Hoyan. I think, if I remember it correctly, dot is the key in here as well. Now, once again, we will find ways of doing this without Shadow Sanya. This is the easy way that everybody is kind of like using at the moment, right? I'm very curious to see if we find something in here without Shadow Sanya, just to kind of like show you, but most likely not. Is going to be the exact same story. You can drop, you see? So this team right here doesn't have Shadow Sanya. Now you can replace that Shadow Sanya with either Fungus, either Obol, and still beat this boss. It's not going to be in 1 minute and 5 seconds. It will take you longer, but as long as you are doing it, that's all that matters, okay? And who knows, maybe they will do a banner for Shadow Sanya at some point. Maybe they won't. Then, Kachi the Guard, once again, is pretty good in some of the thresholds. I think on Aurora, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some teams with Kachi the Guard. I haven't personally used Kachi in here, but I think I've seen some teams using Kachi. Maybe I was wrong and I don't remember it correctly. But yeah, it's a high possibility that I was wrong with that by the looks of it. Or the teams disappeared from here because, hey, they change pretty damn often. But I'm pretty convinced that I've seen at least a couple of teams with Kachi the Guard in here. Now, I haven't used it myself. I don't think I need to because I am using Linglu and stuff. But just to kind of like give you some ideas, you can use these 3 SR units in endgame and no one can replace them, okay? That's the main thing. And I just wanted to make you aware now. I did mention that I will revisit that list if those 3 units end up in being OP in the end game, and they are OP, but we have the 2x right now, so you can start preparing, start building them to 5 stars, and then later you're gonna be able to 6-star them if you need to have them at 6-star, most likely, especially the damage dealers, to have better survivability. But either way, you have the option to farm everything during a 2x right now. Hopefully you found this video helpful, guys. As usual, appreciate every single one of you guys watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.